Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And what do we got today?
Some TapTalk.
Ooh, we're going to be talking about the Militants versus the Traitors. I was the Militants.
I was the Traitors.
You're always the Traitor.
I was always the traitor.
So what did we have here? What was our thoughts on why we chose these two against each other?
Well, this one gains benefits for others conquering certain territories that I put tokens on, as well as territories around where I put those tokens. And yours are the Militants, which are all about conquering the lands.
Right. Yeah, trying to get as many of these out and many of your outposts out as possible in order to get benefits at each income.
Yes.
And so, yeah, maybe just go over exactly what they do.
So this one I start with 4 player tokens here, and on each income turn I may place one of those tokens on either a empty territory, where I'll gain 1 point per adjacent territory controlled by opponents, and if that opponent later conquers that territory, I get the benefit of the unused conquer die. Or else, other than that, I can place the token onto a spot that the opponent controls with only 1 outpost token, and then I would gain the benefit of that territory tile.
So that, yeah, you're hoping that I not only conquer some territory, but expand out onto tiles that I've laid that have bonuses on them.
Yes.
Yeah. The Militants have 8 spots here. 4 of them are the 4 different types of resources, and the other ones are victory points, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the Militants seek to reap the benefits of the territories they control. You start with the 8 outposts covering up those benefits, and then whenever I conquer, I take an outpost from the far left of either of the 2 rows, and then at the beginning of my income turns, I'll gain all the exposed benefits. So yeah, it's a pretty simple one. I kind of thought right away, based on these two, that the Militants would still have a pretty big advantage, and we may have been right. I think you thought that too.
I would think so.
Yeah, because that one just seems a little weak. We didn't play with the upgrade or updated adjustments, but that one should have started with 2 extra resources and 10 extra points, and this one started with no changes.
Yes, and what did the final score end up being?
We had a 324 for the Militants to 200 for the Traitors, so it was
my 10
quite
points
the gap. I don't know if
I think my 2 resources, I think I could have turned that into over 100 points.
Yeah, 50 points apiece. So yeah, it was. I don't know. It wasn't very close, this game.
No, not at all.
But yeah, and I guess if we go into kind of what we were thinking or the strategy we were going to use for these specific ones, mine was that I was going to do a lot of the military and exploration track to try to get as many of my outposts out as soon as possible to take advantage of those benefits.
Yes, my strategy was the exact opposite, because I assumed, playing against the Militants, that they would be going up the military and the exploration, so I decided to go more of a science and technology route.
Yeah, I think that made sense.
Since as well, I don't have to place adjacent to where I control.
Right.
I really felt no need to have to explore the land.
Right. Yeah, that definitely makes sense, because then you're not, especially in a 2-player game, you're not competing for those few buildings on each of those tracks. But yeah, so to start off the game, I think, how did you start?
I started off by going up and
grabbed a tech card,
which was one that would let me get first a tapestry card on the first upgrade and a building of any type except for red, which I thought would be a good way to get my gray building. That is the hardest kind to get.
Right. Yeah. And then I think I just started right off the bat going up the military track, knowing I would need that. So I was trying to think, or hoping that with the benefits I got from the conquer die, that I could get. I was hoping to get 3 off in the first one, so that I would uncover 2 resources. I was not able to do that. I got 2 of them off, which was definitely fine, and I had the opportunity to get the third one off, But I wanted to, because I had gotten the first building from that track, so the 2x2. And instead of continuing to go up, I decided I was going to put myself. I didn't know at the time if you were going to go up the exploration track, so I thought I'd put myself in a position where I could hopefully get that as well to kind of fill in my capital city, because you know that I just love trying to fill in my capital city. So those buildings are a great way to try to do that, and it also allowed me to prolong my turn because you had gotten some tech cards, and then you actually went up the science track quite a bit early.
I did. Because I wanted to go up there, I had this card that if you advance on the science track, gain 2 points. Whenever I roll the die, I can roll it twice, and I wanted to use those rolls for the ones that actually gain the benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go up there a little bit on the first turn,
right,
and then play that to move up there some more.
It's usually that's something we don't usually do, is go up on the science track early. It's usually kind of a late game thing that we do anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you had taken your income pretty early, so there was no reason for me to not try to prolong my turn.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a common occurrence throughout the whole game.
Yes, it was.
You ended up taking all your incomes before I did, and I still ended a few turns after you did in the total game. But just for how that played out, I think in the second era, I continued to go up. I went up the exploration once in order to get that building, but then I went heavy military after that to get to the end of that track and also try to get as many of those outposts out as possible, which I think before my next income I must have gotten 3 more out. So I think I put myself in a position where I was getting 3 resources then each income, which is pretty much the same or more than what you were getting.
As me entering the era first and getting those illness resources.
Right. And then it happened again, like you always do. You take advantage of when I get to right before a building, especially one of those second level buildings.
3x3 buildings. Of course, I was able
to
draw the dystopia card and play that. To steal that, but it really kind of messed me up. Well, it didn't mess me up, but
you didn't even have a place to put it?
Pretty much got me to waste, what is this, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 squares of landmark buildings. I got way too much.
But it would have put me, it was the one of them that I ended up needing for the game, so it did stop me on that. So I got lucky on that.
In my first income turn with this, since you had, that's probably the closest kind of going out of our eras that we had. If I'd gone out a little earlier, I could have benefited from more. But since you had gone up military so quickly and controlled these areas, I could either place on one of these spots and gain the benefit of the place, which there is no benefit. So you hadn't explored to these spots yet. I had to place here to get just 1 point. So you really, I think that was kind of the way pretty much the whole game. There was never a great spot for me to put those.
I never ended up taking up any tiles that had had a resource or something, but we didn't have any great tiles out there for you to go onto with your cubes. So you mainly got it for points and then I think a couple resources.
So, I assumed that I wouldn't have to go up here, but it could have definitely helped to explore a little more in my strategy. I feel like I avoided those a little too much early on, especially in not getting those income buildings off.
Right, yeah, for sure. And your tapestry cards, my tapestry cards, I never really got any great ones that went with military. I know there's a few in the game that go kind of with the military track and conquering. I never ended up getting those, and I actually had to end up using a retreat on my first one, which is one from Plans Employees. So I gained 9 points in a tapestry card. So it wasn't like a great tapestry card for what I was trying to do, but I guess it gave me an extra, I don't even remember if the card was that great, probably not, but it gave me 9 points, I guess. So, then what happened after that?
After that, I was trying to move up this track just to get as much. I saw a tech card that scored 4 tech cards.
Mhm.
So then I decided to just really try to get as many tech cards as I want. And it was
Mhm.
up about here. I'd gotten some more gray buildings with that spot. I go up there, and I wanted. The timing didn't work out for me to hit this repeat spot on a yellow that I wanted.
Right.
I think I was already up here, and I was going to get all my yellow
Gaining the
buildings
cards. You know.
out. And I wanted to get up here to repeat that, but I was 1 resource shy of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I ended up going up this track a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to get some points and get some more tiles out.
Right.
Income buildings, and I also conquered.
Right.
Or attempted to
No.
conquer.
Yep. Because you finally placed that tile out for me, and I'd already been at the center, and I kind of just took that immediately because I knew you might have a trap card to play on me, so I wanted to take it. Well, since I was putting out outposts as quickly as I could, I wanted to take something and for sure myself a resource, even if I rolled the tile bonus for that.
Yeah.
Which was nice of you to do that. So then at that point, I think I positioned myself right off the end of right in the third layer of the military track going into my second one. And there I could choose an advancement track, and my neighbors and I would advance 1 space. I would get to the benefit of the actual space and could pay for the bonus if I wanted to, and you wouldn't get anything.
Yes.
So I had actually moved you up on
So I was
the
on
military.
First spot, which I didn't want to be.
Which, I figured he didn't want to be, so I figured that was a great time to play that. And then I continued to go up, which allowed me to play another tapestry card, and that was the astronomy card, so I got to gain a tile and play that tile, and also gain 2 space tiles to use later, which was good for me because I was still early on in the blue track. I had really focused, like I said, on the military track, didn't go up much on the blue track at that point, but I knew I wanted to try to get to the end of that one if I could. And then, I had continued to go up there and ended up getting a second civilization, which ended up, I don't know, it probably is what got me to the end of this track, but at the same time it kind of put me in a tough spot because I got the Futurist, which pushes you up 4 spots on each track and then gives you 4 resources, or 1 of each. So it was kind of a good thing because it got me past kind of the some of the lower level stuff on all the tracks, but it was also kind of a bad thing because now it just made all of my future moves way more expensive. And it also, on the blue track, it put me past this blue building, the only one no one got, which was a 3x3 I needed to fill in a whole space and would have completed 3 more lines for me to score multiple times. So it's kind of a, I don't know.
But
so.
Then you got 4. You were able to get 4 space tiles out.
That is true. I ended up being able to do that because of it, because it moved me up on the green track, which actually allowed me to go straight to where you can roll the green die with benefits, which was actually really nice. But I, of course, the first one rolled the military track, which I was already at the end of, so that did me nothing. So that was kind of disappointing. And then I actually didn't use the second one for that. I used it for the gray building, which ended up working out because I ended up getting or completing squares almost right on with the building things, so I'm glad I ended up taking it that way. And I think I wanted to do that so that I could set myself up, because this had moved me so far forward as well with the Futurists that I wanted to set myself up to play multiple space tiles. Which I ended up getting halfway decent space tiles. Got to play the one with the mushroom and star resource plus 8 points, and I got to roll the green die again and get 6 points. I'm trying to remember which one. Did that move? That moved me up the science, didn't it?
Yeah, that moved you up.
Which
to
got me the great another.
Spot.
Oh yeah, it got me to the repeat spot.
Which is what got you
3 more.
3 more space tiles.
Which was really nice because it made that 3 resources cheaper for me, and allowed me to eventually play the other ones as well, which were the brown and gray buildings, and then got to score those as well. Which it was only 5 points for both of them combined, so it wasn't great, but it allowed me to fill in my city
Yeah,
and get a couple resources.
Ended up getting you 7 points for getting that last brown off. Second to last.
That is true. But yeah, then what were you doing at that time?
I was doing a whole lot of nothing. But yeah, then at that time I had gotten up here and tried to move as far on gray as possible while also using those free movements to move up here and upgrade a lot of these tiles, which got me, obviously I had one that scored for all of my tech cards. I had one that scored for my tiles, so I got to score 8 points for that twice.
That was pretty good.
And also with the square benefit, I was able to get off two
buildings.
2 more buildings as well. So that was a big focus of mine late game. I had thought that I'm probably not going to win this game, but I just wanted to get some points from those cards.
Right. Because, yeah, you were actually, by the time I was doing my third income, you were like...
I was always a full era behind you.
Right, pretty much. And you ended up getting lucky with the way I chose to do this track versus that one at one point, because me getting into the 4th blue allowed you to actually play a card
to repeat an action.
Yes, that allowed you to actually get to the end of the yellow track. Otherwise, it would have been much worse, I think, for you. Because, that ended up prolonging your game just a little bit more and allowed you to get a few more points. Yeah. But otherwise, I think you would have been in a lot more trouble. So that was a little bit of a lucky thing.
A little bit. I needed a little luck. A little bit.
But yeah, then, like I said, when I had gone into my third one, I still had not gotten any great cards. So I had to play a surrender card, which gained me 7 points and a resource, which I guess the resource was good.
So you had to play 2 kind of trap-like cards.
2 trap-like cards as my tapestries. And then I had also, by that point, gotten emptied out all but one of my outposts. So then I was getting 4 bonus resources, which was, I think if I hadn't had that original civilization, that would have been really tough for me going into that last round, considering I wasn't getting those bonus ones. Because at that point, I still had a lot of these buildings still on here, and did not get many resources to begin with.
Yeah.
So getting those 4 bonus resources was huge.
For sure.
During that round, going into that last round, and so then I'd played that, and I ended up just being able to get almost to the end of the science track and also the tech track, which allowed me to get a few more buildings off here with the building tech cards that I had gotten throughout the game. But yeah.
Yeah. I ended my whole game before you even took played your last tapestry. I think it was the very turn before you did it.
Oh.
Which is something that I don't think I've seen in a game.
No, I don't usually see that either.
But yeah, my last moves, because I had gotten to the end of this track, I went to the beginning of that track again, and just with my resources, I got to the end of the science as well, which sadly with those 4 rolls, none of them were science for points. I think I moved up pretty much 1 on each of these and maybe 2 on this. But then with those last few resources, I just moved up here to score my tiles again for
military
8
track
points.
to score those.
And I explored a little bit for 3
a few more points
and a resource.
So you're just basically doing little things to try to get a few points here and there.
And since I had all my yellow buildings out already, I just went up and got another tech card. That was pretty much my end of game.
Right. Yeah, and I guess towards the end I had gotten up on the science track and was able to go back on the red or yellow track. I chose to go on the red and then went forward again, which allowed me to get my last outpost out and get 1 additional civilization, which wasn't amazing, but I got to pick 3 new tapestry cards, and I could give them to an opponent, which I gave to you
to me for
15 points
for yourself.
So, and then it got me 1 point at the end, so it was a 16 point.
And with that you conquered this space that rolling the dice ended up giving you the gray resource that you needed
To get to that next spot.
to move up
to move on
that
yellow
spot.
twice,
Yes, which
was pretty significant.
was pretty big. You got to upgrade, which I'm not sure exactly what you did. For
I got 2
upgrades.
of the brown
Two
buildings,
brown buildings. Nice.
which was huge.
Get some lines, and then you got to that next one, which scored for your placement on the science
23 points.
11th spot and
The 12th spot
military
there, so-
for the 12th spot.
So yeah,
A
23
23
points.
point move.
That was huge. So yeah, that was a pretty big end to my game.
That was
Just always getting a ton of
a
points.
lot better than me just getting one tech card.
Yeah, how do you think they ended up playing? Is it kind of what you thought? Was it worse? Was it better?
Surprisingly, I think that this. I think it might have been even worse.
Yeah,
Just slightly worse. I didn't have high expectations, but I think it didn't meet them.
hmm Yeah, the traders are definitely a tough one. I think
you
you definitely need the bonus adjustments.
Yeah,
At
you do.
least.
At least. I like the idea of it placing out there, but to just do it every income,
hmm
so only 4 times a game, just really sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe with more players, I think it could possibly be better as there are more spots out there occupied,
Right.
surrounded by opponents.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think it might play a little bit better. But yeah, I thought, if you're playing it 2 players, I would have thought the Militants would be the best chance just because they're going to spread out.
Yeah.
Possibly the Isolationists because they're at least going to put a lot out there.
Yep.
But yeah, I was not overly impressed with that. I think I give it a 1 out of 5, and I would say that it would not be a fun one for a
No,
first time
not at all.
game.
Yeah, I would give it a 1.5 as well.
Okay. So you think it could be worse?
Oh yeah, there's a 0.
Oh boy.
Uh,
A 1.5.
Or did I say 1.5?
You
1
said-
out of 5.
Oh.
1 out of 5. Not a 1.5.
I was gonna say. So it could be worse. But yeah, then the Militants, I actually thought they were better than I originally thought they were going to be, or had originally thought they were, because I have played them a couple times, and you
Yeah,
said
me
you've
too.
played them.
Yep.
I think this is a really good one, probably for a first-time player, because it gives you a full-on strategy of what to do.
Yeah.
This one does not give you any
No.
indication of what you need to do at all. You could play on any track, and it won't affect that at all, I don't think.
No, not
Or
really.
very, very little. But this one gives you a insanely clear path of you need to go up that military track
Yeah.
and just get as many outposts out as possible, which is, I think,
Yeah.
a great one
And
for that.
Yeah, if you do that, if you do go up there, there's really no way to screw that up.
Right. Because, and then, getting these bonus resources, the good combination of it is that the military and exploration tracks are the ones that can prolong your early game,
Yeah.
which can help you get more buildings out to get more resources.
Yep.
And then alongside that, if you're getting the outposts out, you're also getting bonus resources from this, which is really huge.
Yeah.
So I think power-wise, I would give this one, it might actually be, 4.5 possibly. Maybe just a 4. I think there are better ones, but
I think that one, it may not be the most powerful, but I think it is a really powerful one and a really easy one to
Mhm.
use as well. So
Yeah.
I think I would give it even a 4.5.
yeah, I think it would definitely be one that I would give to a beginner.
Yeah.
If they want a direction as to where to go, I would say that if the player wants to be able to kind of do whatever they want to do, this might not be the best one, because I think
True.
you do have to still
True.
focus on it. If you don't focus on the military, then this one is pretty much worthless. I mean, not worthless, but it's not very powerful in that case.
No, not really.
But yeah,
Probably on par with the traders.
right. So I would say I highly recommend. I think this one's a very powerful one for 4.5, and that one
Should be
is
shredded.
one of the worst ones. And I might actually say that this one I think it might need an adjustment. I don't know.
It
might need a one resource. That you lose one resource at the beginning, possibly. I don't know.
Maybe.
I obviously have not played these enough to actually declare that, but it may need one.
We still wouldn't play with it, but
nope, we are not playing with adjustments. We're gonna do this no matter what. So the militants won that game pretty handily, 324 to the traders 200 points. That's one of your lower scores, and quite a bit.
I wasn't even to 100 points into my last income.
Right, and 300 some is a pretty fair score.
Yeah,
I think. So next time we're gonna be taking the Islanders against the aliens, two of the new Plans and Ploys civilizations, and see how they play. They both kind of have some tile lane things to them.
Yes.
So this one takes the actual tiles, but this one takes space tiles immediately in the game. Do you have any civilization suggestions on what you could do 2-player? Any good combos that we should try out? If so, leave a comment below. If you have any other questions on the traders or militants, or you have suggestions as to how to play them, maybe there's a strategy out there for the traders.
I assume I didn't really play it too well, but
there might be a strategy out there for them that we're not thinking of, and if so, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.
keep on nibbling.